Hello and welcome back to another game of Town of Salem, just Town of Salem 1 this time. As you can see, we're on the opening screen. I managed to roll Jailor. This is ranked. I'm still slowly climbing my way up to Masters. I don't know how many of these videos I'll put out. Anyways, I decided to start off the first day with a bit of a weird day 1 bait for me. Normally I don't do something like this, but I said Moff Red hunts me, TPLO on me, or else. And the reason I went with that is because my normal day 1 bait doesn't actually put TPLO on me, and as Jailor I want TPLO on me, so I went with a more likely to, 1, not get attacked, at least immediately, and 2, likely to have TPLO on me, day 1 bait. I jailed 10 here, and I never talk as Jailor. I think that Silent Jailor is the best way to play Jailor. 10 also didn't talk, so I decide that I'm going to push them day 2, because either they're AFK or they're evil. And if they're evil and no one's going to confirm they're jailed, I can push them anyways. If they're AFK, that sucks. They should be gone. They should be here playing the game. So I put, instead of normally here I'd put Sheriff, Night 1, 10, Deodat, Lawson, jailed. I decided to go with Suspicious instead, so I can actively push them. So we get to the second day, and only one person died at night. It was just an escort. I immediately post my will. We have a couple spies post, and off the bat you'll notice that the spies have different wills. 6 has Moff visited 9, 3 has Moff visited 9 and 12. So one of the spies is fake here, and more likely it's going to be 6 is the real spy, 3 is the fake spy, because oftentimes when you have 2 spies with differing wills, the one that is legit is the one that has less visits. Obviously it doesn't count if you just have changed visits, but with less visits it's likely because a Mafia member was role blocked or targeted someone in jail or something like that. Actually, I think targeting in jail still sees it. Anyways, point is, 3 is likely to be real here, 3 is likely to be fake here, 6 is likely to be real. We push up 3, which is great. I still want to push 10 here because I think 10 is very clear evil. 10 does say that they were jailed and they can't be suspicious. I read that as they're an evil trying to get out of the vote, which is what I would expect them to do as evil in this situation. But we push up 3. There was 1 vote on 6 and it was 3. 3 claims spy. My immediate instincts are to guilty this, but I end up changing my mind because it was an incredibly fast vote. So I say Inno up 6. 6 is pushing guilty. 1 noticeably is really pushing for an Inno on this vote, and because of that, I end up changing my mind. Because of that and my original thought process. Because there's no reason for a town member to be hard defending a spy with a fake will like this with absolutely no reasoning. 1 doesn't provide any reasoning, so it makes me think that the 2 of them are on a Mafia team together. It just seems likely. Sadly, it goes down, as you saw, and we end up pushing 6 onto the stand. I scroll back through chat, take a look at what the votes were, what people said. It was a close vote, but it was eventually NO'd. Now, the second vote, 1 says guilty and X2, I think. 1 says 2 is also evil. Interestingly enough, I'm Jailor. 2 is not getting X tonight. 2 and 6 are defending each other. And again, 1 here is just really hard defending 3. So I push Inno. I vote Inno. Only 1 other person votes Inno with me. It's 14. If this is evil, then 14's almost guaranteed to not be evil. So turns out this is evil, and it's unfortunate. I type in the chat, I'll take TPLO again. Trust me, Town Moff wants to kill me now, because genuinely speaking, Moff does kind of want to kill players who play like this, who have found at least one of the evils that's still in the game, probably 2 of them. And I'm a Sheriff claim. Moff generally goes for TI early game, or at least I do as Moff. I expect Moff to as well. Of course, I jail 3, and I immediately decide to execute 3. 3 says, I'm spy. I don't believe it 1 bit. And 6 can't read, it's not my fault. This is very clear evil. I mean, it kind of has to be, just based on the will thing. I didn't try to push him, he just went super aggro on me. Not really true anyways. Anyways, I just execute this, obviously. It's a very clear evil, and my next target is going to be 1. You'll notice that in my fake sheriff wheel, I put 1. And I put them as suspicious, because they're very clear evil if this is. 4 ends up dying, and 4 was medium. 3 also dies. 3 was the execute by me, obviously, and turns out, yep, they're blackmailer. So, 1 mafia down with 3 town. Not a great spot for town to be in, because it brings us down to a 6v5. 1 incorrect vote here, and we just almost guaranteed lose the game. I post, of course, 1 is suspicious, 1 says fake news, 10 says to vote 5, I say 1 goes up, 1 claims bodyguard, I can't be suspicious, and at this point I am completely and totally sure that they are evil, because that is logic that only works if you're a godfather or arsonist. An evil who is godfather or arsonist is going to get indignant about being found suspicious because they can't come up suspicious, and if they're claiming bodyguard, they shouldn't have a role that can come up suspicious. It's logic that only checks out if you already see that evil role that you are and know that it can't come up suspicious, and therefore I'm fake. So, obviously, I decide this is Godfather, we're pushing it, and it goes up quickly. It's just evil. 1 says give to their win. And again repeats, I'm bodyguard, I can't be suspicious. Like, that's logic that just doesn't check out. I am tempted to type up, no, this is Godfather, it can't be suspicious, I found it inno. I decide not to do that. There's no point in outing this as fake, a fake push, because then town's less likely to actually guilty it. And 14 says, basically my logic, 1 did get us off 3 and pushed 6. This is confirmed evil, I'm confirmed town, I say, and we guilty. 10 says Jailor execute 5, confirmed evil. I believe 10 whispered me at the start of the day asking if I was Jailor and saying that 5 was someone they shot who had defense. So I look back through chat and decide who I'm going to jail tonight, and eventually 11 tells me if this is evil to X10. A little silly. I think 10, I mean, at this point, you know, I think 10 is evil. I'm gonna jail an X10. Very obviously. So, I eventually, 11 says 2 said you were suspicious 10. So this does confirm me as town, and 10 is evil if I'm legit sheriff, which I should be for all reasonable senses. Anyways, I jail 10 again, and 10 claims vigilante. I ask, why did you not talk night 1? Because you should always talk night 1. They're AFK. Honestly, I believe them here, because they figured out I'm Jailor. I didn't die when they figured out I'm Jailor. Not that I would have anyways, because I should have TPLO. They seem like they're possibly legit, and I'm trusting my senses on this one. 10 says 5 has defense, most likely Godfather, because 5 NO'd 3 and guilty 6. Which I agree with, it's good logic. So, I don't X them. I think their voting patterns and what they've been doing is decent enough to likely be town. I put in my fake sheriff will, night 3, 5, Giles Corey, suspicious, and I immediately copy that, post it into my prepared text box. I also say that 10 was confirmed framed. Obviously, blatantly lying here, but it makes 10 less suspicious, and I think 10's town at this point, so I don't want them to, like, get randomly shot, or get voted instead of 5, who is the clear and obvious vote that is necessary here. 13 says, yeah, kill 5. 14 says 5 claim. 8 claims to me now, says you're good, so I'm going to claim to you I'm GP. I immediately trust this almost entirely. Feeling my ego is a great way to get me to trust you as town, but legitimately, this isn't something an evil's going to do, and 8's staying on me. 13 says, can you be quiet please too? And immediately I don't like to, because attacking my ego is a great way for me to not like you as town. I ask 13 for roll. 13 claims doctor. We obviously vote up here 5, Giles, Corey. They're almost guaranteed evil. Haven't really said anything, not claiming a role. 13 asks me for a role, and I say confirmed sheriff because I am confirmed sheriff, obviously. 14 eventually says that they're doctor to me. 13 says I'm jester, and I call them arsonist. And I also ask 15 for a role here. Thirteen's being a little silly towards me, not believing me, which is fair. I look evil, honestly. Well, I look like I'm not the role that I am. Most decent town members are going to realize that I am town, but I do not really look like a sheriff. I understand 13's thinking I'm not sheriff. 15 claims invest. And that one's really intriguing. Also, just as a side note, the NOs on that vote were specifically 8. Makes me not trust 8 one bit. 15, I immediately jail, because if you're an invest, you should be posting every day, you have info that's important to the town. But then I look at chat, and I see 15 asking 4 for a role and 7 for a role. And I realize that 4 is just bad. They're not evil, they're just bad at the game. And I don't... It honestly makes them easy to read, because some fake invest isn't going to go out of their way to question the people that they plan to post as having checked in their invest will later without also posting that invest will. If you're evil there, you post daily and you don't push people based on your posts. If you're town, you should be posting daily and you should be asking people for their role, but also just asking for their role makes it incredibly clear you're town. Anyways, I execute 7 here. 7 was pretty clear evil, didn't say anything in jail whatsoever. And I feel like it was an X that made a lot of sense. Obviously, anyone who's not saying anything in jail when I choose to X them is most likely evil. I say 12 came up arsonist last night, we upped them. 13 says 2 isn't jester, because 13 thought I was jester. Fair enough. 14 says I'm confirmed town. Meh. I mean, like, I am town, and I'm relatively confirmed. 12 calls me arsonist, and 12, in calling me arsonist, outs themselves as last mafia, because they say, later, they got strong defense. This is true, but it's because I was attacked and healed, which we have proof of. The doctor claimed to have actually healed me. I mean, I could still be arsonist, but 12 literally claims moth. Some reason, though, town, not some reason. It makes sense. Here you want to find the arsonist if you can possibly do so, because Jailor can deal with last moth, or you have another day to vote last moth. It's not a big deal. Votes go on me, because I'm thought to be arsonist. And I go up, and obviously I claim Jailor, because at this point I'm not going to continue out my sheriff claim. And my will is accurate to what it was. I didn't put anything for the night before, but it doesn't really matter. Deodat didn't talk night 1, that just confirms me. Just about X them. I did just about X them. 10 says Inno. 14 says Inno. 12 says I threw, which is interesting. Not quite sure the logic on that line of thinking. I didn't throw. I just pushed people who looked like evils, and I used a different will to do it. Absolutely not throwing. Fake claiming his town is totally viable and should be allowed. We push up 12. I mean, they're mafia. We could go on the hunt for arsonist, but not really much point. I have a guess as to who the arso is anyways. I'm pretty sure it's 8 at this point. There's a bunch of TP claims. 14 seems legit. 13 unfortunately seems legit. And I entirely trust the one that actually healed me, because they have to be legit. 10 asks me who... 10 starts talking about who they're going to shoot at night. I say 15 claims TP. I meant 8 in this situation. I don't know why 15 was the one I put. 10 says 13 isn't claiming. 13 is another TP claim. This obviously gets guiltied. It was going to be. I whisper to 10, 13 is a doc claim. 10 says they want to shoot 13. I tell 10 not to shoot tonight because I think it's fairly pointless to shoot here. If you shoot wrong, I jail wrong, that just increases the chances of arsonist killing us. If you shoot correctly, you confirm who the arsonist is, but there's a small enough amount of possibilities at this point anyways, it doesn't really matter. It is not worth risking the shot. I tell 10 that, and I take 8 off to jail. 8 says it's 14. And it's, in my eyes, this or soup. It could be 14, I just don't see it being that. I could see it being soup, but most of my accusations at soup are based on the fact that I have mild distaste towards him in this game. So, I explain my logic here. I'm jailing 8, and in the case of me dying, it is soup. Oh, right, 14 is confirmed because I was healed, so there's no shot it's 14 whatsoever. And this is a relatively foolproof option. Obviously, arsonist could have a bunch of people doused, and we could all be screwed, but this is the best situation because I just risk losing in townie if I X. Admittedly, I was pretty sure it was 8. I don't know why I didn't X there. It was a little silly. Now, 13 says that medium seanced them and said 2 is the arsonist, which is really funny. I'm obviously not arsonist. 15 posts full invest will. I trust them, as weird as it seems. They just seem like genuinely bad town, which makes them relatively easy to read. And 13 posts doctor will. I think they're legit. Honestly, I'm pretty sure they're legit. I do tell 15 not to vote here, because 15 is going to listen to me if they're town, and I don't want to vote 8 here because I want my perfect X's. So I say we vote 13 or no one, and eventually the votes change over to 13, at which point 13 gets all indignant about it, and I tell 15, vote for 13. 15 does vote for 13. They're following me, I'm Jailor. Fair enough. And 13 claims doctor, obviously, with legit will, very clearly last town here. The only reason I'm doing this is to get my perfect set of executions, because it looks cool to do that. 13 says medium seance me. 10 says that they're shooting 14. I tell them not to because they're confirmed. They genuinely healed me. 8 says, why wasting time? This is doctor, because we know that 8's the arsonist. I say, I hard counterclaim doc, it's unique, all guilty. 8 says inno, because 8's the arsonist pushing for the inno, which is really, really funny to me. 15 abstains, everyone else guilties, 8 innos, and we voted the doc claim who everyone knew was legit doctor, just so I could get my perfect X's, which makes me really happy. Honestly, I think it's hilarious. Anyways, I say that that was disguised arso, because clearly that was disguised arsonist. I don't know what else it could possibly be. And 10 calls, says, maybe you stop trolling 13, which I just find funny, because 13 wasn't trolling at all. And obviously, I haul 8 off to jail and execute them, because we knew this was arsonist. We knew this was arsonist like 2 or 3 days ago. I should have just executed them the night before, but hey, I still got my perfect X's, which makes me happy. 8 says I had everyone but 2 people doused. And there was no shot they were winning that, and especially with the only having 2 people not doused, that's still enough to vote you up. You're kind of screwed over in this situation, unless I don't jail you. Even then, you have to douse again, and then ignite. It's not going to work out for you. Most likely. I decided to change the death note, although I don't think it actually updated, sadly. And turns out 8 wasn't the only death that night. 10 decided to shoot 14 because they had extra bullets and thought it would be funny, which is like, you know, fair. A little funny. Oh, it did actually update. And 8 was, of course, legit arsonist. They were the only one that could possibly be other than 15. Honestly, 10 should have used the shot on 15 there. But it doesn't really matter. We all knew who arsonist was. Just like, in terms of maximizing the ability to win. And we're now up to 1498 with an 18-15 win rate, which is pretty decent, honestly.